So this is my lesson on temperature and heat. So we're going to drop it like it's hot. Um, let's get started. If at any point in time you need to take notes or do a problem before I move on, just go ahead and pause the video. And after this is done, we will have an assignment online. So first of all, defining temperature. Temperature is defined as a measure of the average kinetic energy of the particles in a substance. So as particles are moving around, you actually feel that as heat. So the temperature is measured in degrees Celsius, degrees Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. We're going to look at all three units of measure, and you're going to have to be able to convert from one unit to the other. Now, as these particles move faster and faster, that's how something feels hot. And when the particles are moving slower, that's when something feels cold. But anyway, converting units. For this original equation, we will be converting from degrees Celsius to degrees Fahrenheit. Now, if you're trying to convert to Fahrenheit, you're going to use the equation where Fahrenheit is already by itself. So all you have to do is plug in your temperature in Celsius and follow PEMDAS, which is you multiply first and then you add. All right, so you guys are going to take a second to convert this and solve for Celsius instead. All right, so I want you to take a moment, pause the video, and take this equation and solve it in terms of TC, solve for Celsius. All right, hopefully you've paused and solved for Celsius already. Here it is. So what I did here was I brought everything over and flipped the fraction. So now we have 5 over 9 times TF minus 32. Now remember, PEMDAS is involved, so you have to do what is inside. You have to do what's inside the parentheses first. So you have to subtract 32 first and then multiply by 5 over 9. Next we have from degrees Celsius to Kelvin. You could think of this as having a little TK right here for Kelvin. Sometimes they just denote it by T because Kelvin is what they use in a lot of temperature equations. Most of the time for this class we're going to be using Celsius. But to get the Kelvin temperature, you're going to put the Celsius temperature right here. So whatever you have in Celsius, all you have to do is add 273.15 and you get your temperature in Kelvin. So go ahead and solve for Celsius and let's see what you get. So pause right now and solve for Celsius. All right, hopefully you paused and you got that pretty quickly. Here's what I got. All I did was subtract 273.15 on both sides. And whatever my temperature is in Kelvin, I just need to subtract 273.15 to get my temperature in Celsius. If you got it the other way around where it's TC equals, that's fine. Same thing. Thermal equilibrium is the state in which two bodies in physical contact with each other have identical temperatures. So basically, if you have two objects with different temperatures and you put them beside each other, the object with the lower temperature is going to heat up and the object with the higher temperature is going to cool down. And what's actually happening is, remember, we measure temperature by the average kinetic energy of the particles. So the particles who have a lot of energy gives that energy to the particles with less energy. And what that does is heats up the cool one and in turn cools down the hot one. All right. Now once they get to the same amount of energy, then you have reached thermal equilibrium. thermal meaning how hot something is, equilibrium, just like the word equal means, meaning the same. So they have the same amount of heat. Change in temperature is much like change in anything else that we've done. It's final minus initial. And this is where we're going to stop for today. I'm going to do this sample problem. Free answer alert. Number 1 is one of the questions that you're going to have to do on the quiz later. It says the lowest outdoor temperature ever recorded on Earth is negative 128.6 degrees Fahrenheit, recorded at Vostok Station at Antarctica in 1983. What is the temperature on the Celsius and Kelvin scales? Now, you're going to pause right here and try and answer that question using the equations that I gave you earlier in the presentation. So go ahead and do that. All right, hopefully you've worked that out. Let us see what I came up with. So as you can see, this first one here, all I really did was take the equation, plug it in, and I got my answer in Celsius. This was my temperature in Fahrenheit, minus 32 times 5/9. Now on your quiz, it's going to ask you to round to 2 decimal places probably. So you're going to cut this off right here, and it's going to be negative 89.22. Now we take that answer and we plug it in the equation to get the temperature in Kelvin. So all we do is take that negative 89.22, plug it in where you would see TC, and add the 273.15, and that would be my second answer. Now because we're stopping at 2 decimal places, we're going to round it right here, and that will actually round to 183.93. You're going to round that 2 up because the number after the 2 is bigger than 5. And that's it for today. Go ahead and attempt the quiz, and good luck. Hit me up on Teams if you have any questions at all.